Right, and this gladly brings us to the result of the South Africa-England game, and I know that there was a lot of social media hype around this match, and a lot of things said. So let's just quickly have a look at that. South Africa obviously winning that match 45-21 at a cold and fairly sold out Ellis Park. I know that there was quite a bit of talk about tickets and the price of tickets, and which I also had my 2 cents on. But nevertheless, at the end, there was about close to 53,000 in a 65,000 capacity stadium, which was wonderful for Ellis Park. The Springboks winning that match with 7 tries to 3, which was really good. And I think even from a Springbok supporter's opinion or point of view, it was a little bit surprising. Personally, I didn't expect us to win that far. I did expect us to win, but the Springboks really came out firing. And when the English team came back and clawed their way back just before halftime to make it 17-14, I think a lot of Springbok supporters were thinking back to that match last year against Australia when we were so far ahead, and Australia ended up beating us comprehensively. So, nevertheless, so well done to the Springboks with regards to that match against England. It was really well done. I think injury-wise, the biggest injury concern is Oxenche, who went off after 8 minutes. And as Rassi said in the post-match interview, it's a question of scans now to see what the extent of the injury is, and we wish Ox all the best and hope that he can make a timely return. Then Cheslin Colby seems to have taken over the kicking duties and slotted 5 out of 7 kicks, which was really wonderful. I think for Cheslin Colby to take up that role with such ease and comfort and be successful at it is really special. Cheslin Colby is a player in a generation, and I hope that he gets all the accolades that he deserves. As I said, England clawing their way back just before halftime, 17-14. That gave them some hope, but to be quite honest, once the second half started, it was one-way traffic. And from the Springboks point of view, I will say that there was no one in particular that looked bad. All of the players looked really good. They played really hard. You can just see by their attitudes that they are absolutely committed, and that they've only got one goal before them, and that's to win and play good rugby. There's so many good players, or so many players had a good match yesterday, but I do want to mention Manie Libbok and Damian Willems. So those two guys were absolutely stellar. I'll just say this in my point of view: Damian Willems should have received the Man of the Match award. Whether there was some kind of a communication mistake, who would know? But I think that most people who watched the match would feel that Damian Willems deserved the Man of the Match award. Regardless, Manie Libbok was as sharp as a knife. He made good decisions. I love the way he attacks at pace, and that brings something that very few other fly-offs bring from a South African point of view at the moment. So well done to Manie Libbok, and I think the fact that Cheslin Colby has taken over the kicking duties really relieves some pressure off of Manie Libbok's game, and it frees him up to play the kind of game that he enjoys playing, and that it just takes a lot of pressure off of him and I think it's working. I think the experiment is working. Um, Cameron Honeycomb came off early-ish. And I will just say this, that he played obviously in the flank position, moving into that spot after Sia Kolisi and even Etzebeth had late withdrawals from the team. So I can't fault Cameron Honeycomb too much for not having the greatest match, because he had to play in a different role that he usually practices in and plays in. So I can understand that. I hope he gets another opportunity. Although I will say, probably that opened up the door for Evan Roos to get his run next week. And on that, I will say that I think that there are quite a few players who are on the fringe and knocking at the door, and will probably get a nod, and hopefully get a nod for the match against Scotland, even if it's coming off the bench. These are players like Ethan Hooker, Aldrich Lowe, Evan Roos, Wilco Lowe, Ditukum Chunu, Kewan Horn. I think that they might get the nod to go and prove themselves, and maybe prove their fitness also for their match against Scotland. Scotland match is going to be interesting. It's played at altitude in Pretoria at Loftus Versfeld. It's going to be a tough one for Scotland, even though Scotland came out and beat Argentina comprehensively towards the end. They almost let it slip. I just don't think Scotland will have the firing, the ammunition to do what it takes to beat the Springboks in Pretoria. I think it's going to be a one-sided affair. But overall, I think the Springboks are feeling good after this match against England, which is obviously part of the matches leading up to the All Blacks incoming tour, which is for sure South Africa's main goal, to win that this year. And hopefully by then we would have sorted out our lock injuries, because that's a bit of a problem at the moment. I think we all understand that. But nevertheless, well done to the Springboks, and all the best for this coming match against Scotland next week. We're sure that it will go well, and as always, we're standing behind the Springboks, win or lose, no matter what. And when the teams get announced later this week, we can maybe have another chat about that and see what to expect. From myself, Hendrik Fourie, in a sunny yet chilly Johannesburg. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and a week leading up to some good rugby next week. Cheers.